Hey everybody, we're going to be talking about slope and parallel lines today. It's section 10.1 in geometry and section 2.1 in math 3. So the first thing about slope and parallel lines is there's basically just one rule. Two non-vertical lines, meaning they're not straight up and down, they are anything other than straight up and down. These lines are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. So what if and only if means is we can look at this in two ways. If they tell us the lines are parallel, then the slopes have to be the same. But we can also go backwards. If we have two lines and we know the slopes are the same, then we also know they're parallel. Right? So how do we find slope? Well, that's what we're going to look at today. So we're going to scroll on through, get to example 1, and using slope to classify quadrilaterals. So there's a simple formula for slope, and we we use m in our equation, so we'll write m equals, and it is the change in the y's, usually we write this as y2 minus y1 over x2, the change in the x's, x2 minus x1. And what that means is we're going to have 2 points, right? 2 different points on the line. And one of those points is going to have the coordinates x1, y1. That just means the x and y coordinate from the first point. And the other point will be x2, y2, the coordinates from the second point. So in this problem, they've given us a trapezoid, or that they want us to prove it's a trapezoid. And they've given us the coordinates for all 4 points. So we need to figure out what the slope of all 4 lines are. So let's use this equation. Let's take a look first at line AB. What's the slope of that line? So we're going to use point B and point A. I'm going to plug those into my formula. They've done it here, but I'm going to go ahead and do it as well. And let's see, so the y-coordinate of my second point, B, is 3, minus the y-coordinate of my first point, which is 1, divided by, my x's go on the bottom, 2 is the x-coordinate of my second point, minus -1 is the x-coordinate of the first point, point A. So I work that out. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 minus a -1 becomes plus. So 2 plus 1 is 3. So the slope of that line is 2/3. Now they have us look at the line DC. Let's take a look. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take the point D and the point C. And so if I take the y-coordinate from point D minus the y-coordinate from point C, which is 1, and then the denominator, I do the x-coordinates. -3 is the x-coordinate of D, minus 3 is the x-coordinate of point C. Simplify that, -3 minus 1 is -4. -3 minus 3, that's -6. Negative divided by a negative becomes positive, and 4 divided by 6, I can divide those both by 2, and when I do that, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3, and I get the same slope. Those 2 lines have the same slope, so they're parallel. Which means by definition, this is a this is a trapezoid. A trapezoid has to have at least one set of parallel lines. So we're done. Another way you can do this, if we look at example B, we can absolutely use the formula. But if they give you the graph, you can also simply count. Rise over run. So if I pick a point, let's say we're trying to find PS. My rise is 1, 2, 3, 4 down, so technically that's a -4, and then over +2. And that's going to simplify to -2. So the slope of PS was -2. Let's take a look at QR. QR has a rise of, let's say I start at R. It doesn't matter which one I start at. Has a rise of 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went up 4, but now I'm going 2 in the negative direction, so that becomes a -2. 4 divided by -2 is also -2. So lines PS and QR have the same slope, they're parallel. This problem is asking us to prove if it's a parallelogram, which means both sets of opposite sides have to be parallel. So we're going to check the other two sides. Let's take a look at PQ. My rise is up 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4 in the negative direction, so -4. Whoa, sorry, I just accidentally scrolled. There we go. -4, which means I'm now looking at 2 divided by -4 is -1/2. What about SR? SR, I'm going down 2. I always do the rise first. So I went down 2, and now my run, left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 to the right is 4 in the positive direction. -2 divided by 4 equals -1/2. Those two lines have the same slope, so we have proven that it's a parallelogram because it has two sets of parallel sides. Example 2 we are going to do later, so we'll stop here. Have a good day.